Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the recess meeting of the Will County Board for October 16th, 2014. Will all our members would please find their seats, and our guests a seat in the gallery. Well, good morning, everyone. We'll call this meeting to order. If everyone would please stand and remain standing. County Board Member Diane Zagrosi will lead us in the pledge this morning and then introduce our clergy this morning.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. It's my pleasure this morning to introduce Dr. Keith Harrison from Grace Baptist Church in Lockport. Dr. Harrison has been in the ministry for 32 years. He has served in churches in Illinois and overseas, beginning in Burbank as an associate pastor and serving in Argentina for 16 years as a missionary. Dr. Harrison became pastor of Grace Baptist Church in 2013 after serving 8 years in Aurora. Dr. Harrison and his wife Judy have been married for 35 years. They have 3 grown children. 2 have followed him into the ministry, and they also together have 5 grandchildren. Welcome.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you, Lord, for the institution that we call government. This morning I pray that you would give wisdom to the members of this board. I pray, Father, that you would give special wisdom and guidance to the men and women in this leadership. Lord, I pray that you'll help them to make decisions that will be beneficial for the people of our county. And Lord, I pray that you'll help us to acknowledge you as our God, as our Creator, and our Savior. And Lord, we thank you for providing that salvation through your Son, Jesus Christ, and his sacrificial death on the cross. Lord, we give you thanks, give you praise, and once again, Lord, I pray you'll bless this body. In Jesus' name we do pray. Amen.
Amen.
Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Sure. Zagrosi? Here. Eustace? Here. Howard?
Here.
Ogala? Here. Izzo? Moran?
Here.
Rice? Here. Harris?
Here.
Trainier? Here. Benefield? Bible?
Here.
Freitag? Gould?
Here.
Balich?
Here.
Griswold?
Here.
Winfrey? Here. Adamick?
Here.
Babbage?
Here.
Wilhelmie?
Here.
Hart? Here. Mayor? McDermott? Here. Weigel?
Here.
Collins? Here. Ferry?
Here.
And Brooks?
Here.
Thank you.
23 present.
23 present, 3 absent. We do have a quorum established. Entertain a motion to place on file the certificate upon publication. Moved by Mr. Babbage, second by Mr. Bible. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Sure. Zagrosi?
Here.
Eustace?
Here.
Howard?
Here.
Ogala?
Yes.
Moran?
Yes.
Rice?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Trainier?
Yes.
Bible?
Yes.
Gould. Balich. Griswold.
Yes.
Winfrey.
Yes.
Adamick.
Yes.
Babbage.
Yes.
Wilhelmie.
Yes.
Hart. Mayor.
Yes.
McDermott.
Yes.
Weigel.
Yes.
Collins.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
And Brooks.
Yes.
Thank you.
23 affirmative.
23 affirmative, motion has carried. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the Will County Board regular meeting of September 18, 2014. Moved by Mr. Adamick, second by Mr. Ferry. Any discussion? Previous roll by Mr. Gould, second by Ms. O'Gallo. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried. Madam Clerk, would you please acknowledge our elected officials and the media that is present this morning?
Sure. Auditor Duffy Blackburn, Circuit Clerk Pam McGuire, County Clerk Nancy Schultz Boots, our County Executive Larry Walsh, Recorder of Deeds Karen Stucco, our Sheriff Paul Kopis, State's Attorney James Glasgow, and our Superintendent of Schools Sean Walsh. Media we have from the Herald News Philip Sarver and from WJOL Monica DeSantis. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Citizens to be heard, we have none that have signed in that wanted to be heard to discuss anything. Moving on, honorary resolutions and proclamations. If County Board Member Steve Wilhelmie will come forward and present a proclamation recognizing the 50th anniversary of the Job Corps.
Thank you, Larry. And I see our guests are on their way down. I'm glad to see we have a good representation from the center. Hard to believe it's 50 years and 35 years that it's been in the Joliet area already. It's tremendous things of reading the resolution, tremendous things that have been accomplished, and I'm sure you'll want to tell us a little bit about some things when they've been completed. Thank you. So whereas on August 20th, 1964, the U.S. Department of Labor's Job Corps program was created to provide career training and education opportunities to our nation's youth. And from its very beginning, Job Corps has operated on the fundamental principle that young people in search of the chance to change the course of their lives should be afforded that opportunity. And whereas since the program's inception 50 years ago, more than 2.7 million young people have received life-changing career training and education support. And whereas today, some 60,000 young people attend one of 125 Job Corps centers across the county. Is that right? There's that much. We have that much opportunity in just in Will County. That's tremendous. I thought maybe it was a typo. That's great. And fills critical needs at a time when nearly 15% of young people aged 16 through 24 either in school or at work, and that's a terrible statistic. And everybody talks about our job unemployment becoming better, but the young people are really hurt by this. There's not the opportunity that some of those older people have. So that's another great thing that we're helping to bring that number down. And whereas, in addition to career training and education, Job Corps centers provide some skills training and other services to empower these young men and women to obtain and hold a job, enroll in advanced training, attend college, or enter the military. And whereas the Joliet Job Corps Centers is a vital member of our community, providing employment for local residents, training for area young people, and actively participating in service. And whereas the Joliet Job Corps Center was dedicated on October 23rd on Joliet Arsenal property, and whereas it is timely and appropriate that the people of Will County join together in celebrating and honoring the accomplishments of Job Corps on its 50th anniversary and 35th anniversary locally. And now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Will County Board and the Will County Executive do hereby proclaim October 23rd, 2014 as Joliet Job Corps Day. Be it further proclaimed that the Will County Board and Will County Executive call upon the community to join in saluting the Joliet Job Corps Center for its 35 years and the National Job Corps Program for 50 years of helping young people improve their lives. And this is dated the 16th day of October 2014, signed by Larry Walsh and attested by Nancy Boots, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Wilhelmie, second by Ms. Hart. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. My name is Candace Brown. I am the Career Transition Manager at Joliet Job Corps. And as he stated and everything, our job is to make sure that students between the ages of 16 and 24, they come, we give them opportunities to go into the military, to get good paying careers, to go to take additional training in other states. They also stay on our center. We provide them everything for free, meals as well as allowances. These are some of our students we're representing for each trade, and they'll simply just state their name, where they're from, and what trade they're taking up.
Hello, my name is Damian McPherson from Chicago, Illinois. I'm 18 years old, and I'm taking up security masonry.
Hello, my name is DeAndre Kilway. I'm 18. I'm from Chicago, and I'm security military.
Hello, my name is Cameron Johnson. I'm 20 years old. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. I'm taking Towson.
Hi, my name is Robert Tops. I'm 23 years old, and I'm taking facility maintenance.
Hi, my name is Brianna Simon. I'm 19 years old, and I'm taking pharmacy technician.
Hello, my name is Tatiana Napier, and I'm taking office administration. Hello, my name is Kiana Little. I'm 20 years old, and I'm taking culinary arts.
Thank you so much.
Next, the County Board member Diane Zagrosi will read into the record from her desk the proclamation recognizing October as Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Diane?
Thank you, Executive Walsh. I consider this to be both an honor and a privilege to be able to once again read this proclamation into the record. So many of our residents, family, friends, neighbors, brothers, sisters, mothers have been touched by the unfortunate disease known as breast cancer. I personally do this in honor of my mother, who lost her battle when she was 51 years old. So today, whereas Breast Cancer Awareness Month is an annual campaign by major breast cancer organizations to increase awareness of the disease. This includes educating the public about early detection, the cause, diagnosis, treatment, and support for survivors. And whereas breast cancer is the second leading cause of cancer death for women in the U.S. after lung cancer, and whereas it is estimated that 232,670 new cases of invasive breast cancer will be diagnosed among women in the U.S. And whereas death rates have been declining, believed to be the result of early detection and improved treatment. And whereas we urge all women to practice monthly self-exams, and women over the age of 40 to have regular mammograms. And whereas we also salute and congratulate the breast cancer survivors who have triumphed over this devastating disease. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Will County Board and the Will County Executive declare October as National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Be it further proclaimed that the Will County Board and the Will County Executive urge all women and their families to take advantage of the information available to learn all that they can about breast cancer and support programs and initiatives for early detection, treatment, and research. Dated the 16th day of October 2014, signed by Lawrence M. Walsh, County Executive, attested by Nancy Schultz-Boots, Will County Clerk, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Grossi, second by Ms. Rainier. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion is carried. Thank you, Diane.
One additional thing, if I can.
Yep.
As each year, we do go in and sell ribbons and do accept contributions to be donated. Right now, we've collected approximately $321 towards cancer research, which is our chosen foundation where our dollars will be going. If you do not have a pin with you or do not have a ribbon, the girls in the office are having these made available. I believe for $5 a piece. So if you're not wearing pink, consider yourself worn by the ribbon. If you have worn pink for today, you can still buy a ribbon. And thank you for participating in a very important day for us. So thank you.
Thank you, Diane. Okay, moving on. All resolutions from the September 18, 2014 County Board agenda have been signed by the County Executive. Our first committee this morning, Land Use and Development Committee, Mr. Weigel, Chairman.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Tom.
Our first item is a public hearing for our land use case. I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
Moved by Mr. Weigel, second by Mr. Frizzlone. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Sure. Zegrosi?
Yes.
Mustis?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Ogalla?
Yes.
Moran?
Yes.
Rice?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Trainier?
Yes.
Bible?
Yes.
Freitag? Gould?
Yes.
Balich?
Yes.
Frizzlone?
Yes.
Winfrey?
Yes.
Adamick?
Yes.
Babbage?
Yes.
Wilhelmie? Hart?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
McDermott?
Yes.
Weigel? Collins?
Yes.
Barry?
Yes.
And Brooks.
Yes.
Thank you.
23 affirmative.
23 affirmative. We are in public hearing. Please be advised, absolutely no new evidence or information will be allowed once this land use public hearing is closed. As no one has signed up for any of the cases this morning, we have one case to be heard, 6196-MV2. Is there anybody in the public that wishes to speak on this case? Anyone in the public wishes to speak on this case? Anyone in the public wishes to make a comment on case 6196-MV2? Mr. Weigel.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Moved by Mr. Weigel, second by Mr. Freitag. All in favor, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Sure. Zegrosi?
Yes.
Mustis?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Ogalla?
Yes.
Moran?
Yes.
Rice?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Trainier?
Yes.
Bible?
Yes.
Freitag?
Yes.
Gould?
Yes.
Balich?
Yes.
Frizzlone?
Yes.
Winfrey?
Yes.
Adamick?
Yes.
Babbage?
Yes.
Wilhelmie? Hart?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
McDermott?
Yes.
Weigel?
Yes.
Collins?
Yes.
Barry?
Yes.
And Brooks.
Yes.
Thank you.
23 affirmative.
23 affirmative. The public hearing has been closed. Please continue, Mr. Weigel.
I'll make a motion to approve case 6196-MV2. This is a zoning map amendment from A1 to E2 in Manhattan Township. This is to bring it in compliance with our zoning ordinance. Committee recommends approval, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Weigel. Second by Mr. Weigel. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Babbage, second by Mr. Ferry. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary motion is carried.
Our next item of business is Resolution 14267, authorizing the county executive to execute a joint funding agreement with the United States Geological Survey for continued operation of rain gauges. The Land Use Committee recommends approval, as well as the Stormwater Committee, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Weigel, second by Mr. Balich. Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Adamick, second by Ms. Rice. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
That concludes the item of business.
Excuse me, Mr. Weigel. Mr. Wilhelmie, would you like to be on the roll call?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Thank you. Go ahead, Ms. Jones.
That concludes the items of business. Our next meeting is November 12th at 9:30. It's on Wednesday. It's a day later because of the holiday on the 11th. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Weigel. Next, we move on to Finance Committee. Mr. Wilhelmie, Chairman.
Good morning, County Board members, County Executive. Let me get myself settled here. Just wanted to say, great to see you back in the building, and hope everything's going well, and continue to keep your family in our minds.
Thank you. Thank you.
And first order of business I have is to place 3 reports on file. First being the report from the Illinois Department of Revenue showing sales tax remitted to Will County for the month of August to be $1,584,111, and the RTA tax received of $1,902,494, totaling $3,486,605. And the second report being the Will County Treasurer report for August, monthly report for August 31st of 2014, and the quarterly report for the period June 1 through August 31, 2014. And I so move.
Moved by Mr. Wilhelmie, seconded by Ms. Trenier. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary motion has carried.
Thank you very much. And now into our regular business. First item is the Resolution 14-268 to transfer funds in the Health Department budget from Fund 207 to Fund 303, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Wilhelmie, second by Mr. Harris. Any discussion? Previous roll by Mr. Howard, second by Ms. Winfrey. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary motion is carried.
Thank you very much. And the next 5, I believe, resolutions deal with our tax levy surrounding our debt service requirement. And we have annually abated those levy requirements as the bonds are paid from our general revenues. And so first one is number 14-269, an ordinance abating the tax heretofore levied in tax year 2014 for the year 2015 to pay debt service on $6.7 million outstanding principal Series 2005 bonds, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Wilhelmie, seconded by Mr. Bible. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll. Previous roll by Mr. Adamick, second by Mr. Howard. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary motion has carried.
Next is number 14-270. It's on $9.1 million bond Series 2006, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Wilhelmie, seconded by Mr. Moran. Any questions?
Previous roll.
Previous roll by Mr. Adamick, second by Ms. Collins. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary motion has carried.
Thank you. And the next is number 14-271, ordinance abating taxes on our 17 million Series 2008 bonds, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Wilhelmie, seconded by Mr. Babbage. Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Ogala, seconded by Mr. Gould. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
Thank you. Number 14-272 is an ordinance abating taxes for $88,580,000 debt Series 2010. These are the road bonds, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. by Mr. Wilhelmie, second by Mr. Adamick. Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Grossi, second by Ms. Rice. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
Thank you. And then the last of this series is number 14-273 to abate $15,770,000 bonds Series 2012, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Wilhelmie, second by Ms. Hart. Any questions? Previous roll call by Ms. McDermott, second by Ms. Freitag. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
Thank you. And my last resolution is number 14-274, determination of the estimate of the annual aggregate levy. And we had discussion at our committee meeting a couple weeks ago and approve a resolution at the 5% maximum levy amount. And then last week at our meeting, we had some additional discussion, and we feel that we needed to reduce this estimate to a closer number that we really were planning to, or basically our top level that we could actually levy for real estate taxes. So I'm going to amend, or actually I'm going to take a second on, I'm going to make a motion to adopt this annual aggregate, or estimated annual levy, and then I'm going to amend it.
Moved by Mr. Wilhelmie, second by Mr. Babish.
Okay, so now that it's on the floor, I would like to amend the resolution to adopt the aggregate levy as presented, and everybody should have that on their desk. It's headed Levy Resolution Amended, and this basically takes it from an increase from about $112,800,000 to $115,900,000. And again, what we're doing today is adopting an estimate. This is, so to speak, establishing a ceiling. We will continue our budget discussions over the next month, starting on October 28th. And our final budget will be adopted at the November meeting at the level of real estate taxes that we feel is necessary at that time. So I'm asking that everybody approve this estimate, and then we will continue to discuss what it needs to be over the next month. Thank you.
Mr. Wilhelmie moves for the amendment, second by Mr. Moran. Questions? Questions? Questions, comments? Mr. Mustis.
Yeah, I do understand that this is estimated for the intent to levy up to this amount. But I'd like to point out that we have a draft budget, and I understand it can be cut, and perhaps will be cut, but we still have a budget that's based on this tax increase at this moment, which is really taxing to the maximum level that the county can levy at, which will create a rate increase. And by the way, that's what I really look at. The real impact on a homeowner or a property owner is the rate. That dollar amount would raise their rate. Therefore, it really is an effective tax increase. And I'm going to say to homeowners, it's to everybody, but I'm mostly concerned about homeowners and the rising tax bills. And everybody many taxing bodies just continue to seem to pile on. To the point that I believe that we are making it not very affordable for many people because the home is affordable because of the tax burden. So, or the tax rate. So, I'm supportive of leaving the tax rates and the rates where they're at today, our current tax rate, which I do believe would create some additional dollars. But I can't support this because the truth of the matter is that when we do this intent to levy up to this amount, or we have the ability to tax to this amount, that's exactly generally what we've done in the past. And certainly I think it gives the impression to the public that that's our intent, is to tax to that maximum allowable amount. So I'm not going to be supportive of this, but I did want to know that I am supportive of leaving the tax rate at their current level. And you should know that that would raise additional dollars, and nobody, that would include the new construction. It doesn't create exactly the funds you might want to, this would, a lot less actually. But then again, we're not raising people's taxes. So that's my position, and I think many of the folks in my caucus feel the same way. I'll let them speak for themselves if they like. So I want you to understand why I'm voting no. I'm not It's not that I'm not willing to stay at least at the same rate, I'm just not willing to raise.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Mr. Howard?
Basically, what I'd like to explain why that I would support this. And there's two schools of thoughts out there, I believe, on the budget process. Whether or not we're going to go into the RTA funds or we're not going to go into the RTA funds for capital improvement projects, that type of things. In Eastern Will County, as well as other areas of the county, these projects are important to us as far as the roads. Basically, the roads, we use those every day. We need to continually put money into those roads. I looked at some of the sizes of the projects out there. Currently, they're large enough where you could empty out the RTA account in a very short amount of time. Again, I'm probably one of the most conservative, cheapest people that you'll probably ever run across. And you know, anytime there's talk of a tax increase, you know, then you know, I do get upset about it. But at the same time, I do realize that, you know, my property taxes, a large portion of those go to the other taxing bodies. With the county portion of it or whatever, if I've got to pay another $3 more, $5 more, or whatever, $15, whatever it happens to be, I do understand that that is an investment in Will County. And you know, I do struggle with this. And I also like to say this too, and I've talked to both sides of the aisle about this, is that if you're really sincere about cutting taxes, then substantially cut them. Actually, you do that through the budget process. But at the same time, with this vote today, all we're doing is allowing us the greatest option. And to me, that means not raiding the RTA funds for any other project. So that's why I support this today. But again, we can actually look at other ideas, you know, explore other opportunities to actually cut the budget or whatever. But I believe that the budget that was presented is lean. I've been talking to a lot of the department heads or whatever, and basically, you know, to actually cut services or whatever. I mean, that is always an option. But again, importance, you know, to the area that I represent, and with all these other issues, outside issues going on, I think that we need to continually put that money in our roads out there, and I do support the road projects, and that's why I will support this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chris Long?
I think Mr. Howard's confusing the situation because this has nothing to do about RTA funds. You're right, that's a budget issue, and we're not at the budget yet. We're at the levy right now. And to levy as high as we are, the ceiling that we're creating is too high. We don't need to go this high. And there's a lot of places to cut in the budget. We'll show them to you next month. But I don't feel that we need to be in this range. We're talking about setting a ceiling that allows us to raise the tax rate to 6.317. Last year we were at 6.216. And as Mr. Musa said, we should be able to gain with new construction maybe $800,000 to $900,000 over last year's levy. And granted, if we levy a little bit higher than that to protect our ceiling at this point, not knowing the final EVA, we should be fine. We don't need to levy an additional $3 to $4 million, which this levy is.
Mr. Valley?
Yeah, I know that last year we raised property taxes on all of our taxpayers, and if I'm not mistaken, it was about a $5 million raise in salaries and approximately $3 million tax increase. So the people in my district, I'm going to say, are going to look at it real carefully and say, well, we're just raising taxes so we can give public employees more money.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Executive. In government, we can always justify spending. My daughters do it to me every day. You know, we can go in and spend money if we take it. But we know that if we keep the rate the same, we're not talking about increasing the rate or decreasing the rate. We're saying we know that we have been conservative. We know that if this rate is kept the same, we will get additional monies. And the current budget is looking at capital improvements, not services. So we're not talking about reducing any services at this point. We're talking about finding other ways to deal with our capital expenses. And we've got to be conservative. I think and the real estate tax, from our standpoint, is not 100% of our budget. We have other revenue sources. And so to put this burden on the taxpayer out of the box doesn't make sense to me. So I'm going to be a no vote.
Thank you. Ms. Winfrey?
Thank you, Mr. Executive. I just want to be clear for my own self. I've heard all the comments this morning, but I believe what we're doing this morning is setting the cap or the ceiling. We are not actually levying anything. We are not saying this will be the rate. We are saying that we now have the flexibility, if we need to, if after all the budget discussions and determinations we decide that we need that space, we would have it. Is that correct?
Correct.
Then I'm a yes vote. We need the cap. We need to have the flexibility to look at all the possible options, whatever those combinations might be as we look at the budget, look at all our funding sources. Thank you.
Mr. Adamick?
Well,
Hand up.
no, I didn't, but I'll say a few words.
You got something to say, Wally?
Yeah, always does. You know, I think Denise has put it quite well. This just does give us flexibility. There is still going to be ongoing budget meetings to determine what the ultimate decision will be in that regard as far as any expenses. But, you know, it's also important to note that your budget does provide the vast majority of this for our capital improvements. And you have to start somewhere. You know, we've had plans over the years, hundreds of thousands of dollars of plans sitting on the shelf. You need to present something and do something. We are mandated by law to provide for a courthouse, and because of our population gains that we've had over the years, we need to provide space for the courthouse. That courthouse, as you know, is over 50 years, or about 50 years old. We have floors that are crumbling. We have infrastructure at the sheriff's office. We have buildings there that in the past have leaked. We have air issues there. We have indoor environmental issues. And we need to provide our employees a safe place in which to live and work and so forth in the environment in which they come to work. So most of this is going for capital improvements. And yes, you could justify that, well, we'll just do it at last year's rate. But you need to have a sufficient, a little bit to provide for our capital improvements. We've embarked on the Social Security building so we can stop paying rent for a recorded deeds office, and we'll save about $240,000. The coroner's office will go there. We'll save some money with doing some of these things by owning some buildings instead of renting. So I think in the long haul, by doing some capital improvements, and the majority of this increase is going towards that, we'll be better off in the long haul.
Thank you, Wally. Mr. Moran,
I'm not going to give a long protracted speech, but the actual impact on a taxpayer of Will County with a $200,000 home is $5.44 a year if we took this maximum levy.
Right, Dave?
Thank you, Mr. Walsh. If anyone knows the need for a courthouse, it's me. Unfortunately, that's why I was late today, because I couldn't find parking. The judges' courtrooms were filled. The hallways were filled. I didn't get in front of a judge until 9:30 this morning. And I apologize for being late. But there's other revenue sources, and that's our job. Yes, it's a need for us and for some of our constituents, that courthouse, and there are safety issues, and there are Supreme Court laws and rules out there that we need to abide by. And I've been working with the Chief Judge, and we all worked as a team here as the board to get that courthouse user fee, which I think is great. And I think we all need to work together too to find other revenue sources. But at this point, I have to be a no, I will be a no, to put that burden on the taxpayers.
Mr. Brooks.
Good morning, Mr. Executive. Thank you. As has been pointed out by everyone at the microphone, our discussion on this morning is about the levy. And we'll begin a dialogue about the budget real soon. In fact, our chairperson, Will Harmony, will remind everybody of our meeting on 28th coming up. But I do believe that I'm asking everybody to support this levy because we are talking about a small increase, and that's been pointed out. It's an increase over last year that's not very large. But I do believe as elected officials, we have responsibility to the residents of Will County. We have road projects, we have everything that's been pointed out, and it is our responsibility to make sure that those projects and the public safety is maintained in Will County. So that's why I'm asking everybody, not just myself, to support this levy. Thank you.
Mayor?
And we also have over $100 million in cash in our reserves.
Mr. Frislow?
So it seems the talk has changed from what Chairman Wilhelmi said, this is just a ceiling, and that we would be working on the budget, and now everyone's talking like this is it. So my question is, to the Chairman, in the past, however many years, 5 to 7 years, when that ceiling was set, how often did we come way under that ceiling? Or did we always wind up, when everything was said and done, that we hit the ceiling?
I don't remember, other than last year, what the ceiling was, what the initial estimates were set at. I do know that most of the time, I know last year we reduced this to what we had in the budget, which was, or what we had in the amended budget, which was not the maximum we could tax. I think most of the years we have adjusted our estimated levy to be what we expected to have in the budget, which has been minimal increases, if any. I'm going to answer this time again the same way. I'm looking at us to spend the next month discussing the expenses and our needs. If we find ways that we can cut, then this levy could be cut. I don't see that, but I do want to reiterate that we need to start funding the capital fund. We need to find a revenue stream, and right now I hear a lot of people saying that there's other revenue streams available, but nobody's come up with any plans other than myself. So this is part of my plan to build a $12 million revenue stream that will be able to be used to fund the courthouse renovation or rebuilding. And it has to start with some tax increase, whether it be levy increase, sales tax increase, or something. We can't do it with the existing revenue stream that we have. I've tried to build models that would be able to do it otherwise. I've never seen anybody else come up with any financial models that would try to do it any otherwise, although they'd like to talk about how we could use our existing revenue streams. We need to pass this to give us the ability to talk over the next month, and that's why I'm asking you to do that. Thank you.
Mr. Bible?
Mr. Frislow just alluded to the philosophical divide that we have here already. We're supposed to be talking about setting the ceiling. We're not supposed to be talking about the specifics about the actual levy right now. And so, like last year at this time, I felt like I'd like to go out for a cheeseburger. So let's just call for the question. I think we've already danced around this philosophical divide. I'd like to call for the question.
Second. Mr. Howard, have your hand up. One last point.
Just one last point on this. Again, the good government, I mean, it's difficult. It's hard. You have to make hard decisions. You have to take the tough votes or whatever. Currently, our infrastructure, we do need improvements. And again, I'll go back to my original point. Basically, with this levy, this just gives us the option in the future that we don't have to go into another fund to remove something out of that fund that's going to take away somewhere else. So we're not going to steal from Peter to pay Paul at the end of the day. So I do support this, and I think that this is responsible government. And yes, these are tough votes, and we're going to take the tough vote today. And we've made some tremendous strides over the entire county board has made great strides over the last 2 years. I mean, we actually purchased a building, we're moving forward on this. So I mean, we're actually seeing these plans come to fruition now. And again, that's why I support what I do today.
Last speaker, Mr. Mutis.
I do think we get a little off point here, but I'll stay off point with everybody else. And let me talk about capital projects. We don't have, you can talk about a courthouse, you don't have a courthouse project. We're talking about it. You have no idea what it's going to cost. You may have a rough idea what you want to spend. We haven't talked about we're going to back into a budget. Nobody has gotten up and said, we're going to budget $160 million for a courthouse or whatever the number is. we are fully funding every capital project that's on the agenda for next year. You know, we don't appropriate for 5 years down the road. We appropriate for the current budget year. And there is more than sufficient dollars for every capital project that we're going to address probably in the next couple of years. You know, we did a 5-year, the county executive's office put out a 5-year capital plan. Nobody has suggested out of that capital plan what they intended on funding. You can't just say, well, you know, we got this idea that someday we're going to have this down the road and we're going to start collecting money now. When you get things that are solid, and you know you're going to have a project, and you know you're going to have to address how you're going to finance that project, you move forward with that. You know, nobody's mentioned it today, but you talk about large capital projects. There's nothing to say that there won't be a referendum effort for a building referendum, or see if that would not be successful first, where people voluntarily say, yes, I'm willing to pay because I know that needs to be done, or that's a public safety issue, or whatever. So to say we're going to establish a revenue stream for which currently is not a project is just probably not the way to do it, because I did it in the past and they told me, oh, we can't do it. You know, it was somewhat of a backdoor referendum. That's another story. But when you have a project, then you start talking about funding. Currently, you don't have a project. And what you do have is being funded. So as that, Mr. Executive, I would also say, let's call that.
I have a question.
Thank you.
Okay, on the floor, we have the amendment made by Mr. Wilhelmy. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Sure. Zegrosi?
Yes.
Are we voting on the amendment?
We're voting on the amendment. The amendment.
Mustis?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Ogella?
No.
Moran?
Yes.
Rice?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Trainier?
Yes.
Bible?
Yes.
Freitag?
No.
Gould?
No.
Balich?
No.
Griswold?
No.
Winfrey?
Yes.
Adamick?
Yes.
Davich?
Yes.
Wilhelmie?
Yes.
Hart? Mayor?
No.
McDermott?
No.
Weigel?
No.
Collins? No. Ferry?
Yes.
And Brooks.
Yes.
Thank you.
Ms. Hart, would you like to be recorded on this vote?
Oh, yes.
Do you want to be recorded as,
No.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry.
No problem.
14 affirmative, 10 negative.
14 affirmative, 10 negative, the motion is carried. Continue, Mr. Wilhelmie.
Oh, well, that was to pass the amendment. Now we have a motion on the floor to approve the
I need to
estimate.
make a motion to approve as amended.
Oh, okay, sorry. I got caught up. So yes, I make a motion to approve the amended estimated annual aggregate levy.
Moved by Mr. Wilhelmie, second by Mr. Moran. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Sure. Zegrosi?
Yes.
Mustis?
That's a big no.
Howard?
Yes.
Ogella?
No.
Moran?
Yes.
Rice?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Trainier?
Yes.
Bible?
Yes.
Freitag?
No.
Gould?
No.
Balich?
No.
Griswold?
No.
Winfrey?
Yes.
Adamick?
Yes.
Davich?
Yes.
Wilhelmie?
Yes.
Hart?
No.
Mayor?
No.
McDermott?
No.
Weigel?
No.
Collins? No. And Ferry?
Yes.
And Brooks.
Yes.
Affirmative, 11 negative.
13 affirmative, 11 negative, the motion is carried. Continue, Mr. Wilhelmie.
Thank you very much, and I just want to thank the executive staff for all the hard work they did in getting to this point. And I want to thank them in advance for the hard work they're going to put in over the next month to get to our final budget. And I just want to make sure that everybody is aware of our next meeting on October 28th, 9 o'clock. We are going to dig into the nitty-gritty of the expenses. If we need to, and we will have additional meetings after that because we may run out of time on the 28th. We're asking some of the department heads to come in and give us a short explanation of their budget requests. And we are going to have an open mind on what they are asking for and what their needs are. And I think that we need to continue to stay focused. To say we don't have a plan for a courthouse is kind of putting your head in the sand, because we know it has to get done. And I tell my kids, if they want to buy a car, they got to start saving today. And that's what we need to do. So wherever the money's coming from to save, it's got to come from within what we've got. And I haven't seen, like I said, the money set aside at the levels that it should be over the last 5 years. We need to start somewhere, and this is today. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Okay, moving on. Public Works and Transportation Committee, Mr. Adamick, the chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Executive, and good morning, fellow board members.
Good morning, all.
I have several items today. So the first item is a public notice for proposed renewal of the Clean Air Act permit program, LSP University Park, LLC, and University Park. Can I so move?
Moved by Mr. Adamick, second by Mr. Howard. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
Our second item is...
excuse me. Well, no, we don't need that. This is for the acclamation.
Our second item is Resolution 14275. It's a resolution granting a temporary access permit for Explorer Pipeline to various county highways in County Board District 12, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Adamick, seconded by Mr. Bible. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Sure. DeGrossi?
Yes.
Eustace?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Ogalla?
Yes.
Moran? Rice?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Cranier?
Yes.
Bible?
Yes.
Freitag?
Yes.
Gould?
Yes.
Balich?
Yes.
Chisholm?
Yes.
Winfrey?
Yes.
Adamick?
Yes.
Babbage?
Yes.
Wilhelmie?
Yes.
Hart?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
McDermott? Yes. Weigel?
Yes.
Collins? Barry?
Yes.
And Brooks.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Moran, would you like to be?
Yes.
Yes on this. Yes.
24 affirmative.
24 affirmative, motion is carried.
Our third item is Resolution 14276. It's a resolution for transfer of a jurisdiction to Cape Farm Road, County Highway 5, to the City of Joliet by the County on Illinois Highway Code, County Board Districts 10 and 13. And I would so move.
Moved by Mr. Adamick, second by Ms. Winfrey. Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Ferry, second by Mr. Neer. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
Our fourth item is Resolution 14277. It's authorizing the approval of additional design engineering services with Parsons Brinker on for roadway and other work on Bell Road, County Highway 16, between 159th and 151st Street in County Board District 7, using the county allotment of RTA tax funds in the amount of $75,234.93. And I so move.
Moved by Mr. Adamick, second by Mr. Frizzalone. Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Gould, second by Mr. Balich. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
Our next Public Works and Transportation Committee is scheduled for Election Day, November 4th, 2014 at 8:30 in the morning. I would urge you all to get out and vote after you come to our meeting. Thank you so much. Enjoy your day.
Thank you, Wally. Next up, Judicial Committee. Mr. Bible, Chairman.
Good morning, Mr. County Executive.
Good morning, Reed.
Good to see you back in the saddle after your health
Thank you very
scare.
much.
Good morning, Madam Clerk, elected officials, fellow board members. The Judicial Committee adopted resolution number 14-78, recommending that the full board authorize the county executive to negotiate with the firm of Harris & Harris to engage in services as collection agency for the Administrative Adjudications Program, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Bible, seconded by Mr. Harris. Any questions?
Previous roll call.
Previous roll by Mr. Wilhelmie, second by Ms. Rice. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried. Oh, abstain. You abstain, Mr. Harris?
He owns it. All right. The Judicial Committee has no further resolutions or reports at this time. We will not be meeting at on the usual date, which is the first Tuesday of each month, because as you know, next November, the first Tuesday is Election Day. That is the reason why we will not be meeting on November 4th. It's Election Day, but we will be meeting on that Friday, which I believe is November 7th, at the usual time of 8:30 a.m.
Thank you, Reed.
Thank you.
Next up, Public Health and Safety, Mr. Babbage, Chairman.
Good morning, Mr. Executive and
Good morning,
fellow board
Joe.
members. I have 7 items to be brought
Put your
forward.
mic down, Joe, please. There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
I have 7 items to be brought before today for voting on them. 14279 is the amendment to the Will County Sewage Treatment and Disposal Ordinance, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Babbage, second by Mr. Adamick. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Hart, second by Ms. McDermott. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
14280, renewing contracts for disposable washcloths for Sunny Hill Nursing Home, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Babbage, second by Mr. Gould. Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Rytek, second by Ms. Collins. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
14281, renewing the contract for exam gloves for Sunny Hill Nursing Home, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Babbage, second by Mr. Bible. Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Collins, second by Mr. Gould. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
14282, renewing the contract for security guard services at Sunny Hill Nursing Home, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Babbage, second by Ms. Winfrey. Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Grossi, second by Mr. Howard. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
14283, increasing private pay rates for Sunny Hill Nursing Home, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Babbage, second by Mr. Ferry. Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Adamick, second by Mr. Gould. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
14284, adopting the Emergency Management Countywide All Hazardous Mitigation Plan, December 2013 edition, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Babbage, second by Mr. Moran. Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Grossi, second by Ms. Collins. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
14285, authorizing the county executive to execute an addendum to the agreement between the Will County Emergency Agency and the Mutual Aid Box, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Babbage, second by Mr. Gould. Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. McDermott, second by Ms. Collins. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
That concludes the items I have to be brought forth. Next Public Health and Safety meeting is scheduled for November the 13th, 2014 at 9:30 a.m.
Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
Next up, Insurance Personnel Committee, Mr. Grossi, chairperson.
Thank you. We do not have any business going before us today. Our next meeting is scheduled for November 12th at 9:30. Hope to see you there.
Thank you. Next up, Legislative Committee, Mr. Howard, chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Executive. And
pull your mic down.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Executive. We have no resolutions this morning to bring before the board. Our next Legislative and Policy Committee meeting is on November 12th, 2014. And I'd also like to take this opportunity now to remind everybody that, especially in the rural areas, that farm equipment's out there. Some of that stuff is large, so I got to compliment Bruce Gould on putting in some big ridges out there, because they're not pulling the heads off of some of those combines now and stuff, and it's unbelievable. So it's quite interesting. So anyway, have a good Halloween, everyone.
Thank you, Bob. Next up, capital improvements, Ms. Winfrey, chairperson.
Good morning, Mr. Executive.
Good morning,
It's good to see
Denise.
you. Thank you. Our first resolution this morning is 14286, which authorizes Cordigan and Clark to do the furniture, fixtures, and equipment and relocation management services for the Recorder of Deeds in the Coroner's Office, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Winfrey, second by Mr. Bible. Any questions? Previous roll call. Question, Mr. Bridgewater?
I'm going to be an abstain on that.
Okay, any other questions? Previous roll by Mr. Babbage, second by Ms. Grenier. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, and Mr. Bridgewater being an abstention. Okay, motion is carried.
Next two are moving our Laraway Road project forward. First one, 14287, authorizing approval of public utility easement acquisition for property identified as Parcel C, Illinois Route 52 and Pinewood Road in Joliet Township for the Laraway Road Sewer and Water Project, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Winfrey, second by Mr. Adams. Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Grossi, second by Mr. Wilhelm. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Mr. Frizzalone, a yes? Yes. Thank you.
14288, authorizing approval of public utility easement acquisition for property as identified as Parcel D at Illinois Route 52 and Pinewood Road in Joliet Township for the Laraway Road Sewer and Water Project, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Winfrey, second by Mr. Moran. Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Hart, second by Ms. Collins. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
The next capital improvements committee meeting is scheduled for November 4th, or 5th rather, that's a change from the 4th. We'll be meeting at 10:30 immediately following Forest Preserve.
Okay, thank you very much. Next up is our ad hoc committee, Mr. Moran, chairman.
Good morning, Mr. Executive.
Good morning, Don.
Welcome back, nice to see you. And good morning, county board members and public. We had a meeting on October 2nd of the airport ad hoc committee. We received a rather detailed report and took questions for Rhonda Novak, the assessor, on what happens when the state acquires property in the inaugural footprint, what happens to those properties, do we still collect tax revenues on those? Essentially, unless the building or whatever on the property is torn down, we do collect taxes on it still. We are going, it looks like the state has applied for tax exemption on both fields, just as they've done on every other property that they own within your inaugural footprint, but we still expect that we'll be getting taxes from the state for that property. The next meeting of the airport committee will be November 6th at 8:30 a.m. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Moran? Ms. Ogala?
I do want to make sure that everyone does realize that when properties, homes are no longer leased, once the state buys the land and no longer leases the property to anybody who's renting it, and the home is knocked down, those leaseholds are not collected. And when those leaseholds are not collected, the people, the taxing bodies in my district still levy at their rate, which means my residents continue to pay more because there's less people paying into that. So while it isn't a tax loss to the actual levying body, it is definitely a tax loss to my constituents. And that's a big point that has to be followed here, and the county board supports the project out there. I don't see any additional help coming from the county board to say, let's make sure that, let's not knock down these homes. Let's put a new roof on, make sure that the cost is reasonable, and if it isn't, let's work with the state on that, because it makes sense to collect the tax, the leaseholds for a long time. They started buying land in 2002. It's currently 2014, and there is not an airport today. And so my people in school districts, library, fire, all that, they pay a percentage higher than they used to pay because there's less people in the pot paying the bill.
Mr. Moran?
Just to clarify, that's true if the people actually move out of the taxing district. If the state has relocated them into a new home or another property in that taxing district that was vacant, then that's not necessarily true. Thank you.
Mr. Eustace? Yeah, the people who remain, and I think Ms. Ogala's point is well taken, is that it does drive up the tax rate to the residents substantially, because there's fewer people paying in the same amount of dollars. If the dollars stay the same, maybe even go up slightly, when they want to go to the maximum allowable, which really drives their rates up. You know, this is just one issue that I think that sometimes I believe we should probably try to address with the state. Many of us who've been supportive of an airport, and I've been one of them, have also stressed that we really have to address the impacts on our residents with the state. When we're negatively being impacted, we need to bring that up. So I think we do need to bring some of these issues up as we talk about the state on how we're getting some negative impacts that may be in the area. Whether the state is open to resolving them is another issue. But we have an obligation, I think, to bring up the issues when our residents are negatively being impacted.
Ms. Ogala?
Yeah, I did want to just correct something that Mr. Moran said, that if a resident moves out of the home within the airport footprint into another home that's in my district, and that home was previously vacant, I assume it's either another home in the country or perhaps in a town somewhere, that was privately owned, whether it was owned by a person who was trying to sell their property, or even if it was a foreclosed home, the bank is still paying the taxes on it. So that was not a negative tax generating home. So that is not right when you say, well, now they moved somewhere else and they're paying taxes. The property that they sold to the state is no longer being leased, there's no money being collected, it's still a negative.
Thank you. Mr. Howard?
I'd like to ask Rhonda a question, if I could.
Suspend the rules? Move to suspend the rules?
Motion.
Motion, second.
Move to suspend the rules by Mr. Howard, second by Mr. Weigel. All in favor, aye? Aye. That's right.
No. The time to ask these questions were at the meeting.
Yeah. Well, Rhonda's coming down. Come on down, Mom.
Okay.
Rhonda, when they tear down a house, when the state actually vacates the house and tears it down, we still receive the rent off of the property, though, as a farmable, correct? It's returned to a farmable state?
If it is farmed, it would be valued based on productivity.
Okay, so we do receive that.
If it is farmed.
So you have to be very careful if you make the statement that if a house is torn down, we don't receive anything more.
And actually, I couldn't even tell you without doing that research if there is a conglomerate of, if 3 houses were torn down and now somebody is farming that. I don't have that information for you, but that would be correct. If it is farmed, that would be correct. If it's torn down, it is exempt completely and there is no tax.
And many of those houses could be zoned A1 now, correct? Agricultural?
No,
Again, we don't assess by zoning, we assess by property use, so.
All right.
Can you tell us the difference between an assessment on agricultural use versus residential use? They're not even remotely close.
No, they are not.
Okay.
Ms. Ogala?
I live out there, that's my district. I know for a fact that very few homes that were torn down, that their property was, the land was returned to ag. Very, very, very few of those. And that's because of the fact that there are so many trees on the properties and the root system below makes it completely impossible for any type of farmer to take on a lease, which the state asked the farmer to pay $180 an acre. If they can't even try and get that dollar value out of it, no farmer's going to take on that risk.
Any other questions for Rhonda? Thank you, Rhonda. Okay, any other questions, ad hoc committee chairman, Mr. Moran? Thank you very much, Don. Okay, moving on. Executive Committee, Mr. Brooks, Chairman.
Good morning, Mr. Executive. Good morning, everyone. The first I have is 14-289, adjusting recorder of these internet electronic imaging fees, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Brooks, second by Mr. Grossi. Questions? Mr. Mayor.
I'm going to be a no vote on this. I don't think that there has been an ability to prove to us that there's a justification for this rate of fees. The state sets the rate. We have not had a cost analysis put out in front of us that shows us that there is a need for a fee raise. And the other thing that has been going on is that I don't think that we have done our due diligence to take a look at the vendor for the potential, not that the vendor hasn't been looked at, because I think he's been vetted, but I don't think that we've done a good job of laying out all the variables that we want to see a vendor do an RFP for and actually go after that for an RFP. We would not go build a warehouse or a building of any kind in this county without going out for an RFP. But yet we want to create a digital warehouse where we are going to have a digital distribution system that is going to put 50% of these fees into the pocket of a private vendor. I can't support that without due diligence and a cost analysis. And my understanding is by statute, we need to be able to see a cost analysis that shows that our current fees are not covering the costs. And just to say to a vendor that you're going to get 50% of those costs, that revenue is not a cost analysis. So I'm going to be a vote no until we go in and actually have the due diligence done. And then if it's shown that it's appropriate to do, I will vote yes at that point.
Roll call?
Any other questions? Any other questions? Mr. Ballage?
I'm a no vote.
Okay, well, you can do that when we call. I'll call roll. I'm not asking for comments. Mr. Mustis?
What we're doing here is we're setting fees above and beyond the statutorial fees set by the state. And I do believe that the intent of that legislation is for a full cost analysis to be performed before we raise those fees. In this case, that has not been done. In the past, we've gotten full regular reports on a cost analysis. So we could say that the service is the fee for the service is not sufficient. So, but that hasn't been done here. And so I remind everyone, we've done those things for land use department, we've done it for other offices, the circuit clerk's office. And in this case, just to say we're not going to have any cost analysis performed, but I believe that's what the state statute calls for, I think is premature. I think the recorder should go back and do hire a firm to do a cost analysis so we can make an informed decision, not an informed decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. McDermott?
I just want to emphasize that this board and the committees have asked several times for that cost analysis. It's not like we haven't been cognizant of what our role is under the statute and that we haven't asked. We have asked, and we have never received an answer. And for that reason, I will be a no vote. I think it's outrageous to bring this matter before us when we never received the information by which we can act on it properly.
Right, Jack.
We're also encroaching on almost a year of not collecting fees. So here we are, that a decision was made that we weren't collecting fees for almost a year. Then we've asked for information at least 2 times, like Margot said, and then we're still not receiving this information. There's no way that we should vote to approve this. I'm going to be a no as well.
Ms. Winfrey?
Thank you, Mr. Executive. I wasn't at the last executive committee, so I didn't have a chance to hear the presentation that time firsthand. However, I have done some separate research, talked to Ms. Stucco offline. As I understand it, the vendor who has done the initial conversion at the Recorders of Deeds would be the one she wants to use for this further program. That is a year-to-year contract, renewable at will. I also understand that she has checked with another vendor. In order for them to come in, they would have to spend another $65,000 additionally to reconvert the records from where they are before they could even get to another contract. My assumption would be that that would apply to any other vendor who'd come in order to use their process. We'd have to spend the money for that conversion. May or may not be true, but that's my understanding of it. The other thing, as I understand about the fees, is that while the fees are somewhat higher than they have been before, they are more customer-oriented, meaning that customers pay a base fee and then can select the records they choose rather than having to pay for additional paperwork that they don't need and can't tell until afterward. So from that understanding, I will be a yes vote supporting this.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor.
Okay, assume. I think everybody knows what that means. And when you talk about assume, that means you don't have information. You don't have data. You're going to make a decision that is going to impact these taxpayers and businesses in this community and in this county and in regional areas, because it's not just this county, but the region. You're going to make a decision and assume that you have information. Shame on you. How can you do that? If there's not an official cost analysis to go in and take, go in and read your history books on political inappropriateness, why we are talking about having open government. Because elected officials have assumed that the person above them is making a decision that is appropriate. I don't want to assume anything as an elected official. I want data. I want information. I want to see the difference between what we do today, what we're doing currently, and what this proposes. And you can tell me this is only an annual contract, but if it's already costing $65,000 to make a change, and one, you don't know that a company is going to come in here and offer you a reduced rate to make that change in order to get the business. You don't know that. And until there's an RFP and an ability to go out and check every company out there that wants an opportunity to bid this, we are not doing our due diligence.
Mr. Executive, roll call, please.
Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Segrossi?
Yes.
Mustis?
No.
Howard?
Yes.
Ogalla?
No.
Moran?
Yes.
Rice?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Trainier?
Yes.
Bible?
Yes.
Freitag?
No.
Gould?
No.
Balich?
No.
Frissalone?
No.
Winfrey?
Yes.
Adamick?
Yes.
Babbage?
Yes.
Wilhelmie?
Yes.
Hart?
No.
Mayor?
No.
McDermott?
No.
Weigel?
No.
Collins?
No.
Berry?
Yes.
And Brooks.
Yes.
Thank you.
Affirmative, 11 negative.
13 affirmative, resolution 14289 is passed. Mr. Brooks.
Thank you. 14-290, renewing contract for elevator maintenance for the various Will County office buildings, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Brooks, second by Mr. Wilhelmie. Any questions? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Segrossi? Yes. Mustis? Yes. Howard?
Yes.
Ogalla?
Yes.
Moran?
Yes.
Rice?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Trainier?
Yes.
Bible?
Yes.
Freitag? Gould?
Yes.
Balich?
Yes.
Frissalone?
Yes.
Winfrey?
Yes.
Adamick?
Yes.
Babbage?
Yes.
Wilhelmie?
Yes.
Hart?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
McDermott?
Yes.
Weigel?
Yes.
Collins?
Yes.
Berry?
Yes.
And Brooks.
Yes.
Thank you.
24 affirmative.
24 affirmative, motion has carried.
Thank you. 14-291, renewing contract for janitorial cleaning services for various Will County office buildings, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Brooks, second by Mr. Grossi. Any questions?
Previous roll.
Previous roll by Mr. Bible, second by Mr. Moran. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion has carried.
14-292, renewing contracts for refuse and recycling collection of various county buildings, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Brooks, second by Ms. Rice. Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Hart, second by Ms. Winfrey. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary motion has carried.
14-293, declaring sheriff's seized vehicle surplus and authorizing disposal, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Brooks, second by Mr. Mayor. Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Wilhelmy, second by Mr. Harris. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary motion has carried.
14-294, replacement hire for Sunny Hill Nursing Home, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Brooks, second by Ms. Winfrey. Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Moran, second by Mr. Adams. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary motion has carried.
14-295, Exelon multi-year assessment agreement, and everyone should have that on your desk and memorize that thick file. And I so move.
Moved by Mr. Brooks, second by Mr. Grossi. Any questions?
Previous roll call.
Previous roll call by Mr. Gould, second by Ms. Freitag. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary motion has carried.
Our next executive meeting is scheduled for November the 6th, 2014, 9:30 a.m. in the boardroom, in the conference room. You all have the appointments by the county executive on your desk, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Brooks, second by Mr. Grossi. Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Jammers, second by Ms. Winfrey. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary motion has carried. Comments made by our county board speaker, Mr. Brooks.
Thank you. Mr. Executive, everyone said so good to see you, but since I've already seen you around various events all over Will County already, let me say it's good to see your wife Irene back in her seat. Let me also say I'm I want to congratulate Downpour, 35 years City of Joliet, 50 years nationwide. As many of you all know, that Downpour resides in District 8 where my colleague Denise and I represent. Denise and I attend many, many events over there as often as we can, and so I certainly want to congratulate them on 35 years here in the City of Joliet. As caucus chair Diane Grossi have read on this morning, I'll let her talk more about pink. It was tough to wear it, but I wore it today. It's for a very important cause. You all look good in it, but thank you for that resolution as well, reminding us all the importance of breast cancer all over this nation. And lastly, there's so many people have fought for a date called November the 4th, and that you all call commonly a day to vote. And many people have fought for that right. And I just want to ask everybody, please help me exercise that right and go out and vote on November the 4th. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you. Mr. Grossi, Democratic Caucus Chair.
Thank you. I will join her in acknowledging and saying congratulations to our Job Corps. Excellent organization, the work that they do. Obviously, we saw the results this morning. And then, of course, our proclamation that I was able to read for breast cancer awareness. I will remind you again, if you don't have your ribbon, the girls in the office have them. You're welcome, Lana, if you want, to chase people down the hall if you don't see one. Collect that $5 so it's going to a good cause. We as county board members, we're now moving into probably one of the toughest phases, as is our departments and staff, which is called budget time. It sometimes gets a little ugly. We hope it doesn't get divisive. These are not political agendas that should ever be out there for any of us as we look at these things. We have some very, very tough decisions to be made. The dollars and cents of it all comes down to, yes, the taxpayers, but we have a fiscal responsibility to them as well, which isn't just looking at what your tax bill is going to be, but how are we delivering the services that you need? How are we to make sure that we have safe facilities for you to go to? So these are all the different things that we have to look at to make sure that we're balancing at this time. So again, budget time, our next meeting, that Steve will be having for all of us to sit down and actually listen to some of the department heads as they go through the budgetary process for us also. Reminder is October 28th at 9 o'clock. And then lastly, I would like to extend my best wishes and good luck to everyone, including those that are obviously running on this county board in the November election. We still have a lot of work to do out there, guys, so go hit it hard. Best wishes to all of you, and for everyone, enjoy your day.
Thanks, Diane. Next up, our Republican Caucus Chair, Mr. Mustis.
Good morning, County Executive, and County Board. Larry, first let me say how glad to see you back looking so well. And maybe, I don't want to say maybe you should do this more often, but you are looking pretty good.
Trying to tell me I'm too good looking for my...
Yeah, I think you're too good looking for your own good. Anyway, once again, I'd like to thank everyone for all the hard work they've done last month, staff, county board members. It's never easy this time of year. There is a lot of work that is performed around budget time. So we'll continue that work and our commitment to the citizens of the county. And I just want to also say, watch out for all those trick-or-treaters at the end of the month. And everyone have enjoy the fall, by the way. You know, I'm fortunate that I have an office that goes up to the Forest Reserve, and I get to see all those lovely colors changing. Take a walk through nature, Forest Reserve, and relax and take some deep breaths, right? Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. I would like to just make one brief comment. My deepest and sincerest thanks to everyone for the many cards and emails, telephone calls, wishing me well, and the thoughts and the prayers that were extended to me. You know, prayer is a very powerful thing, and if we all put our prayers together, we create an unbelievable movement. And I know, I'm sure that that was a help to me, and I'm very glad to hear that my doctor, he had me on the table for over 4 hours, but he did a great job. And my prognosis is that he feels very comfortable that he got all the cancer free, so no further radiation treatments or chemo is going to be needed. So I pray prayer can do a lot for us. So I thank each and every one of you for your thoughts and prayers. With that, this board will stand at recess until our next county board member or meeting on November the 20th, 2014, 9:30 a.m.